Hi, welcome back. In this lesson, we will get more practice at calculating variations. We will keep analyzing the last game, and this will allow us to train our system of thinking in many different positions. Let's get started. We will analyze the game until the end, but I will not explain every move in so much detail. Otherwise, the lesson would take hours. You should understand that the way of thinking will be the same all the time. So I will explain some moves, and you can stop the video and calculate them by yourself. This will be good training for you as well. So, let's resume the analysis. In the game, there followed f5, and then takes, knight f6, bishop goes to d6, queen d8, bishop c7, queen d5, and knight c7. Just like we had analyzed in the previous lesson. So both players made the best move, but what should black do now? First, we should try to find the attacking moves. How can we do that? You need, in your head, to divide the board in two parts, and find any piece move that goes onto your opponent's side of the board that takes or attacks something. Usually, there are just one or two attacking possibilities, and you can find them easily. For example, in this position, black can play queen takes g2 or knight e4. Queen takes g2 is too optimistic because of bishop b6, a6, knight takes a6, where white simply wins. Going back, knight e4 is also bad because white can make the attacking move bishop b6, a6, bishop f3, and white is winning. In this position then, black cannot attack. If you cannot attack, you need to increase the activity of your pieces or decrease your opponent's activity. This helps you find the best moves. There is one more base principle of chess strategy that I haven't told you yet. It is the principle of neutralizing the most active piece of your opponent that is on your territory of the board. This means if you see an opponent's piece on your side of the board, you should attack it and either force it to go back or exchange it. This will be the most important task for you in this position. For example, in this position, white has three pieces on black's territory: the queen, the knight, and the bishop. It is impossible to attack the queen right now. There is only one move to attack the bishop, knight e8, but that only helps white attack with bishop b6. That means knight e8 is not a good idea. That leaves the knight on c5, and black has several ways to attack it. He has knight e4, knight d7, and bishop f8. As we know, knight e4 is a bad idea. After knight d7, white has only one attacking answer, bishop f3. And after queen f5 check, bishop e4, white's position is very aggressive. Black is starting to make the moves back. For example, after queen f7, I think white has a lot of ways to resume the attack. One of them would be knight takes b7, king takes b7, and then rook c1. White has a very powerful position here. Let's back up. Now we have one last candidate move, bishop to f8. This move works well because if white tries bishop f3, then he can't move the knight because of the weakness on b3. That is why in the game, black indeed played bishop f8. Then there's the following series of logical moves: bishop b6, a6, bishop f3, queen f5, king b2, bishop takes c5. This was to neutralize the knight on black's side of the board. And here we can see another position where white has a choice. We need to start, of course, by finding the candidate moves. To find all possible candidate moves, I recommend that you focus your attention on every single piece, starting with the king, then the queen, the rooks, bishops, knights, and finally the pawns. Using this method, you will find all the possibilities and will not miss anything. Let's do so in this position. White has no logical moves with the king or queen. The rook cannot make any forcing moves as well. The bishop on b6 could take on c5. The bishop on f3 can take on c6. And the pawn can take on c5. The candidate moves then are these: bishop takes, pawn takes, and bishop takes c6. Here is one more recommendation. You should calculate all the forcing moves even if they look bad on first sight. Nearly all combinations start from a sudden move. If you do not calculate such moves, you will never find such combination ideas. On the other hand, if such a sacrificial move is bad, you will realize it very quickly. In this position, the most aggressive move for white is bishop takes c6. And this is what white did in the game. If white tries to do something else, the situation would be much easier for black. For instance, if bishop takes c5, then black can play knight d7, attacking the bishop. And it seems like bishop takes c5 only helps black keep his position. That is why instead, white played bishop takes c6. After your opponent's move, you should ask yourself, what is the opponent's threat? Or what will he do on his next move? This simple recommendation helps to avoid blunders. For example, in this position, white is threatening queen takes a6 and then queen takes b7 mate. That is why black has only two candidate moves, king to b8 and queen takes f2 check. In the game, black played queen takes f2. It is a logical move because it wins material. This is another base rule of the chess game, the principle of material. It means you should take something if you can. I know, it sounds obvious, but a lot of players break this simple rule very often. They start to think about something else and forget about the main ideas. The principles of activity and material are the two most important ideas in the chess game. That means you should follow them most of all. Quite often, people make mistakes because they know too much information about chess and cannot decide which factors are the most important in a given position. Certainly, there are many factors in every position, such as safety of the king, the activity of the pieces, open files, weaknesses, and so on. You need to understand the most important idea in the position. After these lessons, I hope you understand which ideas are the most important. They are the base principles of the chess game. Coming back to the game, after queen takes f2 check, white cannot play rook d2, because in the line queen takes d2, queen takes, bishop takes, king takes, black has simplified the position and gains a huge material advantage. That is why this line is bad for white. Instead, in the game there followed king a1, king b8, d takes c5. White is keeping up the pressure. You can see that the strategic principles help all the time. There is knight d5. Black improves the position of his knight. Now here, white has a huge choice. The forcing moves are bishop a7 and bishop c7, the checks, as well as bishop takes b7, bishop takes d5, and rook takes d5. They are the captures. I will not show you all the variations, because it will take a lot of time. You can stop the video and try to do it for yourself. The system of calculation is the same. You need to calculate all the moves with check first, and then the captures. The game continued with bishop c7 check and king c8. Black cannot take, because after knight takes c7, white will play queen goes to b6, and then there will be checkmate to follow. So there was king c8. Then the game continued bishop takes d5, bishop takes d5. And white again has several candidate moves. There is queen takes a6, which is check, rook takes d5, which is a capture, and then there is bishop to d6, which is attacking the king and threatening checkmate on c7. By the way, the sudden move rook takes d5 gives white a draw. The line will continue e takes d5, and then queen takes a6 check, king takes c7, queen goes to b6 check, king c8, queen e6 check, and white will resume making checks. Backing up, black cannot play here king d7 because of c6 check, which then opens the line up to the black queen, winning it. You can see once again why it is so important to consider all the forcing moves, even the ones that initially look bad. Backing up, instead of rook takes d5, white chose the line bishop d6. Now, black needs to cover the c7 square, so he played queen goes to f7, consolidating his position. The move queen a6 here is not so dangerous, because black can simply play queen b7 and everything is fine. Queen a6, queen b7, queen takes, king takes, and black will take back one of the pawns with either bishop takes b3 or bishop takes g2. So the move queen a6 doesn't actually help win material for white. Backing up, the position now becomes quite simple. White cannot do anything real, so there is no reason for us to resume the analysis. In the game, the players made several more moves and then agreed to a draw. Here is the rest of the game. We had rook c1 with the idea of pushing c6. Then this rook d8 stops that plan. King b2, queen g7 check, king a3. A couple more moves here. And then this was declared a draw. The position is quite drawish. For example, the line queen takes b4, king takes, rook b7 check, king a5, bishop d5. We can see that the players will take a lot of material, and right now it is a completely equal position with opposite colored bishops. This is a draw. During this lesson, I have told you how to calculate lines and how to apply the base strategical principles in complicated positions. In other words, I have shown you the right way of thinking, the same way grandmasters think in such complicated positions. Now I want to draw some conclusions. You should understand in general what you need to do in every stage of game. In the opening, you need to develop your pieces, to castle, and to connect your rooks. In the middle game, you need to compose an attacking plan. Find the object of your attack and realize how you can attack it with your pieces. In the endgame, the pawn structure determines the plan. You can advance your passed pawns or attack the opponent's weak pawns. These ideas give you the general direction of how to play in the different stages of the game. To find each concrete move, you should use the base strategical principles and calculate the variations. According to these principles, you should try to make the attacking moves first. If there are no attacking possibilities, you need to use the principles of the least active piece, maximum activity, and neutralizing the opponent's most active piece. There are some other principles as well, but those were the main ones. After realizing which move should be the best according to the general principles, you then need to check the concrete variations. When calculating, you should find all the forcing candidate moves first, and calculate them until the end of the forcing line. This way of thinking will help you to find the best move in any position. I have shown you how it works in 2 examples, and this second one was very difficult. But when you have a clear system of thinking, you can play even such hard positions as well. Certainly, you need to practice the ideas from this lesson for some time. When you understand it deeply, though, when you automate this way of thinking, you will start to think like a grandmaster, and then you will get the grandmaster's results.